Hey, good morning, everyone. We scheduled this meeting so it'd be well after the end of the legislative session. Um, since our last meeting, I feel like we made a lot of great progress with the finance domain of USIMS, and then ultimately the connecting with the APIs to the different financial systems out in the field. So two things today. Just wanted to, well, actually three. See if we could get an update from Don for the group, for the good of the group, on where things are at, what progress has been made since our last meeting, and then talk about too. I think there's a little bit of money of the 4 million that is still left. So, Sam, if you could get ready to just give us an update on that, on the balances there, or the balance there, and then just kind of decide too. The third thing is just to decide, well, where do we want to go from here as a group? If you remember, we kind of assembled to get your expertise and your perception from the field. I was thinking maybe meet again in another like 3 months or so, right before July 1st to 2024 to see where we're going. But we can talk about that when we get there. Okay, so for the first agenda item, Don, will you go ahead and tell us all the great things that are going on? Which systems we've been, or yeah, systems and LEAs we've been working with, and anything else any questions you might have of these great experts that are here with us today. So I'll just turn it over to Don, if that's okay, Jared. Just let go to Don. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Don. Try to
So
put.
we've been speaking with we've tried to contact seven different LEAs in total that provide financial platforms to the LEAs, and so we're primarily working with those vendors instead of working directly with the LEAs because the vendors themselves will be connecting their platforms to USIMS. We've shared both via the focus working group and also in discussions with the sessions with those vendors, giving them demos for, okay, here's with our Swagger page, that basically illustrates how the finance API works, and it's a means by which you can kind of test results, with both providing information to USIMS and then essentially querying to confirm that information is there. So we've actually got a couple of vendors are actually underway, underway with development to connect to USIMS. I've been reaching out as part of my role, been kind of coordinating with those vendors and trying to answer questions. But in general, like they've given us good feedback for, okay, yeah, it makes sense. It is going to take them a little bit of time to kind of confirm that connectivity, and that's obviously out of our control. But we, as a program, we are doing our best to kind of support those vendors as much as possible. We are kind of working with the Microsoft Azure platform that we utilize. There are a couple of because this is a relative. There's not a lot of documentation out there for what we're doing. So we're going through some troubleshooting with connecting connecting additional members to our platform. But we do have a solution that we're actually validating this week, and so I'm in the process of following up with those vendors that are continuing to onboard developers to support us. In particular, like Skyward's got some resources that they will have to work to connect to USIMS. So at a high level, that's kind of the summary of the update for where we're at on the USIMS side. Scott or anyone else, were there any questions or anything that I can help clarify?
Yeah, can you tell us who the vendors are specifically, or you know, just yeah.
Right. So there are, I believe, seven different vendors that we've been trying to reach out with. I know that Tyler Technologies is one that they're actively connected. They've confirmed that okay, hey, everything makes sense. There have been some, if you think of kind of I guess in like SQL terms, I think of like the primary key of being like, okay, for every record in a database, like that's the identifier for it. So we've been kind of following up with the different vendors to say, like, okay, hey, that's what this GUID is. I know that Tyler actually gave me feedback at the beginning of the week. They're like, hey, yeah, it makes sense to us. We'll let you know if we have any questions. Like I said, we're onboarding. We're in the process of connecting some additional members from Skyward, and there's also like one of the charter providers, Tops Tech, that they're trying to configure to us. Like they're actually onboarding as well. There's also a Polaris, which is another charter provider. We've actually just, I think in the last week, have connected a couple of their developers to our platform as well. So getting them up to speed. We're also doing the same with Alio Link. I think Alio bought Link. So we've actually got some feedback. I was actually out last week, but so we're following up with them to get a couple of their developers connected as well. I'm just kind of looking here at my notes off the top of my head. Those are kind of some of the main updates
Yeah.
that we're doing right now.
No, that's great. So let me just pause there and see if anybody has any questions for Don about the progress or the process of the connecting that we're doing right now. It'd be great. Has anybody heard anything from the field, any questions or concerns, issues out there that we may not know of? I think we still have pretty good participation in the focus working groups. But if you can join us or you haven't been able to in the past, that would be great too. But any questions for Don about anything he said up to this point? Over.
I have a question. I
Go ahead,
just
John.
wanted to add. So Don put together a meeting. We met with the state of Wisconsin. So they've got a similar system called Wise Data. So I thought that was good, Don. We were able to meet with them and kind of, they're doing very similar things that we're looking to do, and they had some good stories for that. So just wanted to share that with the group and say thanks for putting that together.
Yeah, Wise Data they started earlier than obviously we have on the Utah on the USIMS side. There is a big difference with what Wise Data is using. They are using the out of the box EdFi APIs. The big difference for us and something that's because we're not just taking what EdFi has developed, we have our API looks very similar to what EdFi offers. But it is solely with its USIMS, its USBE's entity. It's based off of the EdFi principles to make it easier for the vendors to connect to us. So they're not starting from scratch. It's something that they've seen before. But we have found that based off of John Palmer and USBE's requirements, that hey, when you're posting like something like expenditures, like hey, we need to have locations. And if a program is associated with that expenditure, we need to have a program associated with it as well. Out of the box, EdFi does not have that. So we've configured the Finance API to accept those additional requirements that USB Finance requires of the LEAs.
That's good. Yeah, thanks, John, for bringing that up. Anything else for Don or any other questions, concerns? Okay. Don, Alan, do you?
This is just more maybe next steps for those LEAs that are not in kind of these pilot groups. Do we have an idea of what the timeline will be to roll out to them? What the fields are, what the expectations are, so we can start looking at that? Or do I just need to be patient and hold?
In general, with what most of the vendors have kind of communicated to us, and with what USB Finance needs, like we need to with that pilot program, we need to have a year, getting a year of actuals and budget information to kick the tires and make sure that, because there is a lot of funding associated with these items, it's something that we need to get right. So, we need to kind of do this pilot with each vendor with a couple of LEAs, confirm that, hey, the information matches with what we expect and what we need. And at that point, once the pilot is successful, we will roll that out to, the plan is to roll that out to all of the LEAs using those different platforms.
Yeah, Alan, and Jared and Don could correct me if I'm wrong. What we're seeking in accordance with the law is the capabilities by July 1st of 2024, hence the, smaller pilots. And then, so as far as the timeline goes, I would venture to put out that the connectivity to districts like yours, like Don said, we're working with Alio and Link, so that Link is used still in a lot of the districts, some of the bigger size districts too. But you're likely, Salt Lake itself will likely be after July 1st. Is that safe to say, as far as the team? But how soon or on that, I'm not really sure yet. I mean, it's hard to know if once really things start, we switch the switch on to say, how, I mean, maybe it'll go really smoothly. There won't be a lot of errors or, different issues like that. So we'll be able to get to you like close to or right around the, the summertime. But what we'll try to do is once we, you know, start to, really see how this is working, then I think we'll be better informed at that point to publish a better timeline as far as the next wave of LEAs on that too. So, but as far as Salt Lake goes, I would probably say slightly after July 1st. Is that, reasonable, Jared, Don? Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Jason had a comment in the chat.
Oh, okay. I can't
He
read the
says,
chat.
no, you're
Sorry.
good. I can read it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Has
go ahead.
Severe started the process with their homegrown, and has Link been communicating?
So Link has been communicating. They, along with Skyward, are a couple of vendors that, like I said, we're rolling out a fix this week. So if everything goes well, they should be able to very soon be able to start their development work. So like I said, we've recently got in touch with a couple of the experts on the Link side. So they are actively engaged. As far as Sevier, I can reach out to them again. My initial understanding was that their in-house platform did not have API capabilities. But if there's someone else there that I can reach out and communicate with, Jason, I'm happy to do that.
That'd probably be Chad Lloyd, the BA
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to like a Chad someone or other. Like I said, I
It's probably Chad Lloyd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason threw in there Craig Curtis as well.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll reach out to Craig again. I believe I had communicated with him a little while ago, and had shared the information. But I will go ahead and follow up again with Sevier on that.
And I don't know the situation. Don, it may be good to get them the spec sheet just so as they're building this, they can build that into it.
Right, will do.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for Don? Any questions or concerns for Don? Okay. Sam, how much of the 4 million is left?
So I put in the chat
Okay.
the list of those that have been approved. There are so that list totals 3.894 million. So there's 105,000 left. And actually we just had a small hiccup with two of those last applicants kind of got approved at the same time. And so actually exceeding the 4 million. We're going to communicate with I know. So I guess it's not the worst problem to have. But we do have all of that 4 million obligated. It remains to be seen whether that will actually be used by by everyone that has applied, but it has been obligated at this point. So and along with that, I think there may be a few LEAs here and there that if we do have LEAs that applied for 110,000 and maybe only use half of that or parts of that. For example, Sevier School District didn't apply for any funds, so if they're converting to Link, I think we would message to them, hang on a little bit, and we'll see, if we can find some of those remaining funds for you. But yeah, and I do have another charter school that just reached out kind of last week and finalized what they wanted to apply for, and I had to tell them that we've obligated that whole 4 million. So yeah, that's where we're at there. But
Okay.
happy to
Any questions from anyone? Any concerns with related to the funding or that money, the 4 million, 4 million plus? So okay. Third thing, it's just what I'd like to do is see if there's an appetite for a meeting sometime in the month of June. I know, from the BA perspective, for those of you, for Alan and Beverly, setting budgets, that, there's probably no good time of the year to have a meeting. But what I would like to do is just see if there's an appetite for a meeting in maybe the second week of June, with the agenda or the objectives of another update on how things have gone. By then, we should have some actual, real-time data on, the connections that have occurred and, what errors or issues we've had, what successes we've had. Then to Alan's question, I think by then too, we would, and I'll just, ask Jared and Don to put this together in preparation for the meeting. What this is a timeline, like Alan was talking about, when's the next waves or when's the next, or depending on how things are going or not, well, maybe there's some further work we have to do. So I'll just pause there. Is anyone against, or, if you really want to meet earlier than that, that's fine. But, I do appreciate the participation in this and getting the perspectives of, kind of outside and focused more on the, progress or, how the connectivity and the input we can get from Alan and Beverly. Is everyone okay if Cami sets up another meeting for, say, the second week in June with another update, how well are things going? What are we experiencing? Who are we connected with? And then, the second objective being the timeline. And then an update from Sam on, the execution of the obligated amounts of money. So those 3 things for the agenda. Any questions, concerns with that approach? Okay. Hearing none, we'll do that. We'll look for sometime around the second week of June. So, all right, last chance for any input or concerns, questions. All right, thank you all for being here. I'll give you some time back. I think we'd scheduled this for an hour, but we're well under that time. So have a great day. And again, if you think of something after this meeting, let us know. Let me know. Again, we appreciate everybody's input, especially those of you from the field, quote unquote. So thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.